Welcome back. Time to see how we can try to elevate our privileges on the target machine. But before we do that, I just want to play you this recording that we recorded from the previous video using Meterpreter and the record mic command, just to see that we indeed managed to record the sound on the target machine. So if I play it, this will start recording and it should capture what I'm speaking at the moment to the microphone. You can see it did manage to record it. Now, it is not that high quality of a sound, but nonetheless, we can hear what the target spoke on the microphone. Nonetheless, let's get back to the privilege escalation, and privilege escalation is a big topic and a more advanced topic. There are many advanced techniques that can be used to try to elevate privileges. However, we're going to be covering the scripts we can use to automate those processes. All of those scripts we have available inside of our Metasploit framework. Now, usually we don't know whether we can elevate privileges or not. Throughout the years, there have been many exploits that got patched for the privilege escalation. However, maybe our target skipped some patch and is vulnerable to one of them. So what we're left is just to try all of those scripts out and see if some of them works. What we can do to search for the privilege escalation exploits is we can first background this session that we got with our Windows 10 machine, and we can type search bypass UAC. What does this mean? Well, UAC is user account control, and these exploits that we will find are used to bypass it, which could allow us to elevate our program privileges to the system level. Another thing I like to search is type search and then the year that we are currently in. Since we are at the end of 2020, we can type 2020 or search 2020. And this will list out all the modules that came out this year. Inside of these modules, we will have everything, so what we want to search and filter out is Windows exploits and preferably local Windows exploits, as we can see right here. What does local mean? It means it's getting executed on the system itself. Usually, these type of local exploits try to elevate privileges. For example, here we can see a few of them, such as exploit Windows local and then this name. Up here we got another local exploit and many more are right here. And we can also see the SMB ghost exploit. Now, I know what you're thinking. I did say that Metasploit framework doesn't have SMB ghost module. Well, that wasn't true. However, this module is a local exploit and it's only useful after you're already on the target machine. As we can see, it is exploit for Windows, but it is also a local exploit. The one that we covered is the same vulnerability inside the SMB version 3, just we exploited it remotely from another computer to gain a shell. But let's test it out, just to see whether we manage to elevate our privileges using this exploit. So to use it, we can type use and paste the exploit. Just make sure that you got the active session with the target machine. As you can see right here, I got session 1 active on the user account of the Windows 10 machine. If I type show info for this exploit, we can read that this is a vulnerability that exists within the Microsoft Server Message Block 3.1.1 protocol that can be leveraged to execute code on a vulnerable server. So we can see the targets right here, and all we need to set is the session ID. To do that, we can type the sessions command, check out the session ID that we got, and type set session and then 1. If I type run to execute this local exploit, well, seems that it did something, but we didn't get a shell back. So we can assume it doesn't work. Let's try another one. If I type search 2020, and for example, let us say I'm going to use this one, which is exploit Windows local CVE 2020 service tracing. And the reason why I'm using this one is because down here it says privilege elevation vulnerability. So this can be used to elevate privileges in case our target machine is vulnerable. Let's check it out. Press enter, type show info just to check out what this module does. And this module leverages a trusted file overwrite with the DLL hijacking vulnerability to gain system level access on vulnerable Windows 10 64-bit targets. So our targets do match, and we do want to gain system level access, so let us see whether this will work. There is only one thing that we must set and that is required, and that option is the session. So let's type set session and then 1, press enter and run the exploit. Failed to validate lhost, so let us type show options just to see which payload we got, and we need to set lhost to be 192.168.1.12, which is the IP address of my kalilinux machine. Now also make sure that the L port is different than the port that you got active inside of a session. Since I got port 5555 active in the current session, I can specify right here 4444. But if your Meterpreter session is running on port 4444, you need to specify a different local port, otherwise none of these exploits will work. So I can leave it on 4444 and type run. And it seems that this one doesn't work either. Let's try from the UAC bypass exploits. So I will type search bypass UAC, and here I will see all of the exploits for user account control bypass. Now you can go ahead and try all of these local Windows bypass UAC exploits to see which ones work. Just make sure you read information about them first before running them. But what I'm going to use in this case is this FOD helper bypass UAC. It is from 2017 and it showed to work a lot of times in my personal experience. So I will copy the name, type use, and then I will paste the name right here. Press enter. It configured the payload, and let's give it a try. If I type show information just to see what it does, it will tell me this module will bypass Windows 10 user account control by hijacking a special key in the registry under the current user hive and inserting a custom command that will get invoked when the Windows fodhelper.exe application is launched. It will spawn a second shell that has the UAC flag turned off. So let's see what are our options that we must set. And we need to set the session. In my case it is session 1. And I can use the local port 4444. And if I type run, here it is. We got another session open. We got the Meterpreter opened. And this is a different session. As you can see, it is running on port 4444. So we got a shell back with this local exploit. But if I try to run the command get user ID, it will say that we're still the same account that we were before. But remember, it said in the module description that this exploit will spawn a second shell with the user account control flag turned off. What does this mean? Well, it means that if we try once again to run the command get system, that didn't work before, now we are the system account. We did it. Right now we can say we fully owned this Windows 10 target machine, since there is nothing that we can do on it right now. And just to prove to you, I will type get user ID once again, and it will tell me that I am authority system account. So feel free to test out other modules to see if they work or not, and you can also try these modules on our Windows 7 virtual machine just to see how that would go. Great. Now that we elevated our privileges, let us check out other post-exploitation modules that we can also run. See you in the next video.